Hi, I'm recording this video, which we call it Feel Good, in quotes, Feel Good Charity Complex. And that video came to response to my conversation I had with a friend of mine who, and that conversation kind of disturbed me a little bit. We talked about past weekend on which way our world is moving today, the Western world, I guess, and how my friend was claiming we become less sensitive to people around us, and we tend to concentrate on even our good deeds with a relatively minor detail. We're missing something that could be really helpful to other people. So we talked about the charity and helping other people, and it a little bit bothered me. So I thought, let me address that. What my friend was saying is that usually we have communities. There's a Jewish community, there's a Christian community, it could be Italian community, Chinese community. In every country, in America, for example, in the US, people tend to congregate by the community. And as a community, each community tries to do something good for the members of community and even outside community. For example, I happen to be Jewish, so for the Jews, we have campaigns, we have Jewish Federation, we raise money for good causes, for American Jews, for non-Jews, for the starving people around the world, for Israel. So we do wonderful things, and we feel good about it, that we are helping humanity. So my friend was complaining that we don't do enough. And I said, what do you mean we don't do enough? We do a lot. It's not proper to say that we don't take care enough of the world. And who is he to actually judge? How do we do enough or not enough? Well, his point was this. He said, let's take a community, let's say a 200 family community, for example, or something. Let's say 200 family community in Philadelphia, New York, Chicago, Atlanta, Miami. Let's pick the town area. And the 200 people community, among this community, we all have problems. Some people don't feel well. Some people don't have any relatives. Some people are poor. So we vary. And who doesn't have any problem? We all have a problem. So we all sympathize with each other. But if you take those three criteria together, if somebody is sick, and I'm talking very sick, not just a little bit sick, but really sick that they barely can get up and get the meal for themselves at home. And they also poor. They don't have much money at all. And they also don't have any relatives. Let's say nobody, not a son, not a daughter, not a brother or sister. That combination of those three factors, health, financial problem, and loneliness, nobody, those three together overall, two extreme cases, are not that common. So you can say maybe in a community of 200 people, we might find one, two, maybe three people at that level of problem. There's always a problem. The person falls, breaks his or her leg, gets from the hospital. The family tries to help out. Community comes, brings food with meal, support the person. That's all wonderful. But if the lady, my friend was saying, if the lady comes from the hospital after childbirth, it customarily the community brings soup or hot meal, so the person kind of recovers. And what he was saying, but if they didn't do that, that lady probably in America, in Atlanta or in New York, Philadelphia, Austin, Texas, probably would not starve to death, even if they didn't bring them a bowl of hot soup. So it's nice to do, very beautiful, but it's not as same as somebody is laying in bed, hardly be able to get up, can't make anything to eat themselves, and nobody comes to visit, and they have no money to buy. Those type of situations are different. And for those type of people, my friend is saying, we don't do enough. So my person was saying, with a 200 people community, an average income for a family, roughly, and there's a people more affluent and more poor, of course, we're all different. But let's say nowadays, average salary the person gets is maybe $50,000. So a typical family, probably on an average, American family, American Jewish family, American Italian family, American Polish family, you just pick any, probably makes $100,000 income a year. Sometimes less, sometimes really tough times. People go bankrupt. Even lawyers and doctors go bankrupt, unfortunately, and don't have any bankers, real estate agents. And we all, of course, feel bad about it. But on an average, let's say 100,000 for income. So if you take 200 people, my friend says, that's approximately 200 people times 100,000 becomes $20 million. $20 million income. Of course, from that, we have to pay electric bills, we have to pay for our medical insurance, have to help our own children and grandchildren. That's all makes sense. But the people we're talking about, one or two people, like I know the lady actually in that position that has nothing, also very poor, very sick, and pretty much neglected. She lives about 10, 15 minutes drive from the community I used to be part of, and she seemed to be completely forgotten. There's a couple of people that come over, thank God, and help her a little bit, but she's at the point that she needs to have somebody who physically lives in there and takes care of her. And otherwise, basically one day would just die laying there with nobody about. And same thing, my friend says that people don't seem to care. No, don't even, okay, that's problem. I know, and a lot of people suffer. What can I do? That's the attitude. So that full-time living companion, let's say some lady who goes to medical school or college, wants to make some extra money, and she can probably become a live-in roommate for that person, take care of her or him. If it's a guy, take care of the guy. That probably, I'm guessing, will cost maybe, say, $50,000 a year. I mean, I'm just $50,000 pro, not a bad salary for the medical student to live in a home, not to have to pay the mortgage, just but take care of the person who lives there. And so $50,000, let's say two people like that, it's $100,000. So if you take $100,000 of the $20 million income of the community, that's 100,000 divided by 20 million. It's approximately 5%. 5%. So 5%, that's roughly equal to what for the person, $5,000. 5,000. So on an average, if every family contributes $5,000 a year, they'll take care of a couple of people who are completely nistugedach, as we would say in Yiddish, completely in a really terrible shape. And breaks my heart. I'm sure it breaks your heart to know there are people like that. Well, that's what the person tells me. Well, my response to that is, who are you to judge? Who are you to know that why would you, what does it say that we have to take care of people like that? We have our own problem. And besides, if you're a member of a typical community, let's have a synagogue or church or mosque or whatever things, that is usually big, and there's a lot of electric bills and lights, and the flowers probably no longer good in front of it. They need to be kind of spruced up. Parking lot hasn't been paid for the 10 years. The lights need to be changed. The flooring is like maybe marble. It's a little bit broken. It needs to be changed. There's maybe nicer wooden floor, better lighting, bigger kitchen in the social hall, so that when we eat steak, it doesn't really gets overburned. So we have a lot of expenses to spend for flowers and other things. And it's nice to have something very beautiful environment. So we don't have extra money, and we pay for this. A typical family might pay $2,000 membership fee for the synagogue or for the church. That's $2,000. You tell me pay another $5,000. What is $2,000 for 200 family coverage? That's approximately $500,000. 200 family times $2,000, roughly, it's about $500,000. Well, you have a big temple, synagogue, church, whatever, and it needs to be taken care of. It takes $500,000 to pay for the rabbi's salary or for the priest's salary or for mufti salary or whatever, plus the secretary, plus all the good things we do, and the parking lot needs to be paid. It's a lot of expenses. The roof might leak, so we don't have any money. And then we do, like, everybody, there's a campaign. Jewish Federation makes a campaign to help in Israel. You drive around Israel and you see a big hospital or big park and says, charity by American Jewish Federation, something. It's a lot of help with those schools in Israel, multi-million dollars. So we can ask ourselves, well, did you contribute to that? Yes, I did. I have $100 check or $1,000 check I sent for this. Look at this beautiful hospital in Israel. People benefit. We did it. I did it. I put $100 check. And many, many other people. There are 5 million Jews in America, and everybody gets $100 check to send or $1,000. It's a lot of money. You can build hospitals and schools in Israel. You can provide all sorts of support, and that's wonderful. And I have a check. I have a check on my wall frame. And when the holidays come, I show to my children and grandchildren, this is how much charity we do. And I teach my children to be charitable, to be nice. Look, there's $1,000. I'm a doctor, I'm a lawyer. I'm making $350,000 a year. So I'll take from that $1,000 and I give it to the charity, and I feel good about it. And why shouldn't I feel good about it? I'm a good person. I'm charitable, caring person. And the lady that's laying there almost dying and by herself, well, it's tough. What can I do? It's tough. Sorry, I don't have much more time for that. There's a story in the like a man at the beach standing. It's a famous story, and he takes the fish that got washed out from the storm, and he throws them fishes into the sea. And the guy comes by and he says, "What are you doing?" And the guy, "I'm trying to save these fish." Well, you can't save them all. You're crazy. Well, the guy picks up the fish and throws it up throws it into the sea and says, "Well, it helped this one." So you can't help the whole world, but you can help one or two person. You can't help the whole world. I remember my rabbi one time told me, when I talk to a person, I only think about two people, him and me, not how to save the whole world, not how to have a campaign for the Jewish Federation or for Italian Christian Federation to raise funds for something remote and very, very nice. So I can put a check in a frame and show my grandchildren at the holidays what a good charitable person I am. I do mitzvot, I do good deeds. And I have nothing to be ashamed of. Look, I helped a lot of people. And when somebody tells me something like this, that they want to help other people, it also disturbs me because I can sit. I have a $800,000 home, 3,000 square feet, and I'm a lawyer and I work very hard. Lawyers work hard too, I come home, I sit with a cup of coffee, and now somebody tells me I don't make enough charity and help for the person. It disturbs me. I can't drink this coffee. I get like acid reflux from listening to this accusation, which is completely unreasonable. The person completely nuts. I almost want to plug my ears not to hear he tells me, because I don't like to hear that. It's just nice. There is a famous saying, I think it's a Jewish tradition, that what's mine is mine and what's yours is yours. What mine is mine and yours is yours. Or it could be what's mine is yours, what yours is mine, what mine is mine, what yours is mine, what yours is yours, what mine is yours. Those four characteristics of the person. And the one they say that what's mine is mine and what yours is yours, that's a characteristic of Sodom and Gomorrah. So you can say, I can sit in my $800,000 estate and thinking, listen, I don't need any help. I'm fine. I don't need help you. Well, if you come to me and if you want a cup of soup, if somebody is in trouble for a couple of weeks and I do bring soup, I will be the first one to drive it and do it. I do that. And then I come back to my backyard with a nice fountain and a garden. I sit and relax and enjoy it. And the person maybe just fizzling away, dying somewhere. I don't want to think about it. It's hard to think. And besides, it's what's important thing in life for us is to learn. For the Jews, we learn Torah, we learn Talmud. For the Christians, we learn Bible. For Muslim, we learn Quran, other things. And it doesn't say that that's the best thing to learn. The more we learn, if I learn entire Shas, all books of Talmud, that's very good. So if I'm sitting and learning in the synagogue, for example, or Bible in the church, that's mostly empty, but I have a lot of rooms. A lot of expansion for the people, for our children, for our future. When I sit there, usually maybe on the weekend, on the holiday, I might have 50 people, 100 people sitting in a room. I have another 12 rooms sitting there. They're mostly empty, but they're there. And we raised $1.5 million for this Taj Mahal. Barely people there most of the time. And if we didn't build it, could we meet there? My friend says, we could still meet it. You could take a huge kitchen and partition it with a temporarily partitions. And that's what they used to do in Poland 200 years ago. And you can have a group studying here. And maybe the kitchen doesn't have to be that huge. And maybe it doesn't have to be a huge stainless steel refrigerator. Maybe you can settle something less. And maybe the steak may not be a broil to exactly that quality that you want for the party. but you can still take the balance of the money and distribute to people who really need, who have those three criteria. My friend says, to that I answer, baloney, baloney. Don't accuse me of not being a good person. I have flowers need to be changed, parking lot needs to be paid. Well, he brings me this Isaiah thing. Oh, it's another thing from a Torah. He calls it Torah. This is the Isaiah book, okay? So he read it, chapter 1, verses 11 through 17. Why do I need your numerous sacrifices? Well, he's saying, and he's probably completely lost, he's saying that what happened in the temple sacrifices and all the good deeds, today we don't have a temple, but we compensate that. It's parallel to going to synagogue and praying and doing it. It's a parallel to what we did before in the temple. Now we do it in the synagogues, we do it in our homes. So Isaiah is saying that why do I need your numerous sacrifices? Says Hashem, says God. I'm sated with elevation offering of rams and the fat of fatlings, the blood of bulls, sheep, and goats I do not desire. God says it. When you come to appear before me, who sought this from your hand, to trample my courtyards, no longer shall you bring a worthless meal offering. No longer will you give me a soup for the person who is coming from a hospital for 3 days. It is a smoke of abomination for me. The new moons and Sabbaths and your calling of convocations. I cannot abide mendacity with solemn assembly, hypocrisy. My soul detests your new moons and your appointed times. They have become a burden upon me. I'm weary of bearing them. When you spread your hands in prayer, I will hide my face, my eyes from you. Even if you were to intensify your prayers, I will not listen. Your hands are full with blood. Wash yourselves, purify yourselves, remove the evil of your deeds from before my eyes. Cease doing evil, learn to do good, seek justice, vindicate the victim, render justice to the orphans, take up the grievance of the widow, take up the grievance of the lady who is laying in bed and nobody comes in because we're busy, my friend says, wrapping shlach manot, like in the example of Jews for Purim, we're wrapping chocolates with the 2 apples and an orange to bring to a friend to show how much we care. So a person can opens up the package and he sees the chocolate I gave you. That will make his day. That person really thinks that you're a good Jew, you care for him. And he does the same thing for me. And I'll sit at home and I have 20 packages of candies. And the more packages I get, that means the more people know what a good person I can look myself in the mirror and think, 20 people, 30 people gave me these packages. It's a lot of candies I accumulated. And I can eat all these candies and thinking, I must be a good person. People care for me. And I care for them. All these things. And I need committee, a chesed committee, to help me wrap the candies. And I put flowers to bring to people. And that lady who needs to have a living companion that doesn't have it because it costs $50,000 a year, cannot help because the funds already used to repave the parking lot, to put a new floor, to take care of the flowers. So why should we help? And by the way, Isaiah, who is he? Who is he? Isaiah happened to have a rich uncle. His uncle was a king, you know? Isaiah's uncle was a king. And by the way, his great-great-great-grandson killed him, Manasseh, King Manasseh, killed him because he didn't want to become a doctor or the lawyer. That's how Isaiah ended. That's what happens when you say things like that, when you criticize people. Who the heck gives you the right to become Isaiah, to criticize the good, and well-meaning community who look what we did? Beautiful synagogue, beautiful church, beautiful mosque, beautiful park we did in Tel Aviv, on Beersheba, on Haifa. That's all comes from a community. That's not nothing. That is what I'm telling to my friend. My friend is not satisfied with that for some reason. He is so stuck on this helping people. What really matters is to wrap sachmanot chocolate. That lady I'm talking about lives about 10, 15 minutes away from the community that I know. But she can't be helped because a Hesed committee has around to go help people, to bring shlach to stay and say, how are you doing? You just had surgery. Are you okay? Yeah, I'm okay. My husband helps me, and I have 2 kids and 5 grandchildren. They help me. But I also bring you a bowl of soup because I care for you. Please recover better. You broke your leg. Here's a soup for you. Eat it so you don't have to come out to the store by yourself. That lady lays there, but you cannot visit her because she's 15 minutes away outside your route. It's not in our territory. We're not going to help her. Let somebody else help her. We can't, not our route. What mine is mine, what's yours is yours. Classes. We sit a lot of classes. Our rabbis, our priests, our muftis lead the congregation. They teach classes. That's a noble thing to teach classes, I say. I want to sit in a class and learn Torah and learn Bible. That's the most important thing. That's what the rabbis tell me. And I want to go to Kollel. I want to go to the meeting with other rabbis, with other smart chachamim, smart people that can teach me more about Pesachim and Bava Basra. And if you're a Christian, that's probably Old New Testament and this and that. And the more I learn, and many more times learn, the better person I become. And the lady that's sitting there doesn't have any of that, and she's dying essentially. Well, but Torah compensates. The Bible, the Holy Book compensates for it because I am knowledgeable in the Torah. Don't tell me I'm a bad person. I am not. Who the heck are you to tell me that? Many classes. I feel good. I feel good what I do. And by the way, again, my 800,000 house with 12 rooms in it, I got a big mortgage to pay. And I work hard. How can I spend any more time? I work overtime anyway. My wife works like a dog. And the other day, a lawnmower broke. We have 3. 1 broke. Second one is not working too good. And that's a problem. You don't think it's a problem? Not having a lawnmower to cut the grass? It's a big problem. And we have 3 cars, mine, my wife's, and my son has a car. But it's been 5 years. I haven't bought a new car. It's time for a new car. So that's money. 50 grand for the car, probably. How are you going to get it? So this is what Isaiah said. Let me see if I have it. Share. Huh? Share probably says for a reason. Well, that's Isaiah, right? So we can read it. That's what my friend wants me to read. Worthless offerings. Worthless offerings. So, I'm coming up and driving in, and a guy comes in and asks me to give charity. So I give him $1. Well, no, I don't give him $1. I give him $5 because I'm not like average person. I give more, $5. And I tell him, and my son sits next to me and he sees that I give $5 per. And my son knows by example what a good person I am. My son doesn't really know what I do to this lady who lives 15 minutes away and dying from starvation and sick. That he doesn't know, but what he doesn't know, it wouldn't hurt him, right? It wouldn't hurt him. But he sees my donation, and the poor person will be happy and glad. And that's a Jewish thing. It's a Christian thing. It's a Muslim. It's a religious thing of a good person to help another person. So if you're an engineer, you probably go to a typical budget of the synagogue or the church, and you can say what exactly money is going to. Salaries to rabbi or rabbis, electric bills, all that. Just go through calculation. If you're an engineer, think about it. If you have a building, a synagogue or church, how much electricity does it take? More than for the home, but not equal to the whole power station for an entire country. So you do calculations. You can do it in 5 minutes on the back of an envelope. And you probably find out that a lot of this money, like in Israel, people call it stuyot, which is nonsense. And if you try to go to a board of directors of the synagogue or the church and tell this to them, they will not let you talk to them because it doesn't feel good. It's accusatory. You're becoming Isaiah, poking finger. It's not pleasant to hear that. It's much more pleasant to hear that, hey, we're campaigning for the new mailboxes. We got new mailboxes. And when the holidays come in, we'll build sukkah. We'll build a tabernacle. And we have people volunteering to come with a hammer, come with a nail, help us out. Wow, I'm helping in synagogue. I do a lot of good things. All the things my friend is saying are good thing to do. I'm not against it. But he's saying it's really a drop in the bucket. It's a fine tuning on the wrong channel. Sometimes he said, if somebody gives the charity, it could be I don't know what's the English word for that. It's like a giveaway. It's like somebody comes in here, hey, take $5 and leave me alone. And I would say, somebody gives me $5 and leave me alone. I would say, you know what? I don't need the $5. I need help. I need real help. At least sit down and think about it. Build a chesed committee. that is a Hesed committee and not chocolate wrapping committee of the Slachmanot for the holiday. The committee who really shows. I help usually a big community can help a small group of members. Usually the bigger the problem, the fewer the people of that big problem. It's a pyramid. We all have problems, but people have really, really serious issues are relatively few, thank God. And that is the effort of the community should be first. Take care of the widow, of the poor, of your orphan. Then worry about the parking lot. You know, in Israel, sometimes I see synagogues. Every block there's a synagogue. And the parking lots are not really paved. Many of them not. Well, in Jerusalem, perhaps Tel Aviv, they are. But a lot of them, people, just to have a dirt road and people park, don't see that as a big problem. Because you say, before I pave the parking lot, I want to make sure that there's no paralyzed person laying in his home with nobody coming in and give him a glass of water before you go to the flower beds. It's nice to have beautiful things after you have taken care of the critical issues. It could be a debate. It could be exaggeration to some degree, but look at the numbers, calculate the numbers, and do it. So who will volunteer? I'll finish this, that for this particular lady that I know in the town I am referring to, she needs a living companion. She lives 10, 15 minutes away from major synagogue in Atlanta, or somewhere in the town. I will, here, put your money where your mouth is. I'll put $1,000, not $50,000. I don't have that to put. I put $1,000, hopefully to match with the community, to raise $50,000. And I'm guessing, probably, you tell me who works in the social services. It probably costs, let's say, 50 grand for the living companion to take a, and maybe it's a good for the person who will want to be. I wouldn't want to be a living companion. I'm not very easy to get along. But there's some people who are much nicer to get along. The person who you want to live with might also not be that easy to live, to get along. That's the social workers have to figure it out. But the point, money-wise, $50,000, $30,000 maybe, or $100,000, but roughly 50, let's call it, can be a nice salary for somebody who lives in, a student, a medical student, and needs this money. And the person now will be happy. The person not only happy, the person would live. I know that person personally that when had an emergency, had to call a taxi to be rushed to the hospital. After the surgery, that person has to also call a taxi to bring her home. I wonder who let her move from the taxi to her house when she returned. And that's what happened. Shame. Shame on us, my friend says. I don't buy that shame on us. I buy that person is oversensitive, and he is just simply, and Isaiah nowadays probably will be fired or locked up somewhere, because Isaiah, Ezekiel, Jeremiah, all the things they told to accuse us, because look what we do. I mean, first temple, second temple, I remember I was there, you were too, with a lot of studying. We learned Torah nonstop. Rabbi Akiva had 25,000 students, knew Torah inside and out. You ask him, what's the word number 7,344 in the Torah or in the Bible? They say that word is such and such. They knew Torah great. What an accomplishment. And next door to you, people suffer. Well, that's not my problem. It's my problem. I help. You want $100? Here's $100. So let me know. Let me know what you think. And, the degradation, my friend says, I don't agree with him, of course. Degradation of community, the first, you feel guilty that you don't do something, that you know in your heart that you're wrong and you don't do it. Comes a time you no longer feel the guilt. You feel I'm doing everything fine. I go to bed happy and satisfied with myself. It's not that I don't do anything. I do a lot of things. I have a list. What are the things? If you ever sit down and make a list, when 120 years old, the person goes in front of his maker or her maker and says, I want to get in. Which way, which door do I go to, right or left? And God says, what's your resume? And you show the resume. What did you do? I was in the basketball team. I was the first in school. I learned entire Shas, entire Talmud. I learned it approximately 10 hours a day. Actually, 13 hours a day. I learned nonstop. I was so tired, worn out, but I learned. And I also was in chairman of the board of the church or the synagogue or something. And as that, we have a committee, and I run committee. Boy, it took a lot of my time. And we had also a big budget. And what do you spend? We'll budget, look, I have a picture. This is beautiful shul, beautiful synagogue. Look how nice. We did it. Roof leaks sometimes. We took care of that. Parking lot, we took care of that. We have everything. It's nice. People loved it. They come. How many people come? 100 people, 50 people come. How many classes do we have? A lot of classes we have. What was an average group per class on Tuesday at 11 o'clock? 4 people. Well, 4. And the rest of the building, it was empty, but still, it's nice. It has some fill, and then we build it for the future. God will take this list and say, that's not the list I'm looking for. That's nice that you did it. But this is a appendix to the main list you have to show. And if you show that lady, 1 or 2 ladies, I also know the person somewhere on the western side of the town whose husband used to be a Haganah fighter. And now he doesn't feel good. He lives in America. And he was very active in his synagogue. He was Gabbai, and they were active. They did the nations. They did a lot of things. They were a pillar of community. Now they're old. Nobody comes to visit. Nobody comes, maybe once in 2 years or 3 years, 10 years. Nobody cares. I actually have to tell you the truth. And I'm paraphrasing, my person saying that he sent the emails and called the rabbi of that synagogue and other people. Can you call visit them? And they don't even respond to these calls. But they raise campaigns for expanding the facility, to repaving the floor. And you drive on the road and you see a beautiful temple. And you think this is a Jewish temple. Or if it's a Christian church with a beautiful Christian church, whatever it is, and we can be proud of the efforts with it. And the people who are part of that will now get older, forgotten. Blemish. If you don't feel that's your fault, it's your fault. It is your fault. If you lost that feeling, it's your fault. It's all over. But it's not all over. As my friend says. I didn't agree with him, of course. I feel we'll do everything fine. Don't bother us. I got a class to catch. I gotta go. I have to learn more. Don't have time to spend much more time for this. At 9 o'clock, I have a class on Kollel. Then at 10:30, I have a fundraising for a new parking lot. Then I have a meeting to go to the bar mitzvah or the wedding. And then I have some other things. That's what we do. We're very busy. No time for this lady. Think about it. Okay? God bless you. God bless you. God bless us, everyone. Where's the committee? Who's going to start Chesed committee? Who is going to make Chesed committee that does Chesed in a big way? Not to save the world, but to save one person that I happen to know, and you too, or 2 people. That's all. Just them. Start with that. The parking lot, the lights, the expansion of the synagogues or churches will come. God will give you means for that after you have taken what have to be taken care of first. Otherwise, Rabbi Kesselbaum, that wrote the book, said that Torah is honey. Torah is precious. The Bible is precious, but it can be poisoned if you don't use it right. God gave us this document in order to learn how to live your life, not to feel good that you did something, but for having something done that you can show. And to show, go back, to see you have beautiful flowers, and have meetings on the Saturdays and Sundays about learning, Torah learning, Bible circle. Wonderful. That is nothing comparing to missing the main target. You're hitting the bushes instead of hitting the main trees. Think about it. You should have started doing a long time ago. It's never late to change it. You have to change it. Otherwise, if, as I said, for the person feels guilty about what he or she doesn't do, then guilt goes away. And then people are telling them about this. They become the enemy. That you makes them feel good. You are wrong. What did you do yourself to help? What did you do? I asked my friend, what did you do? Did you help someone? Oh, he says he did. He actually did something specific. He gave me, I'm not going to go through a list what he gave, but it's not doing slach manor. It's not wrapping chocolates. It's not refusing to go 15 minutes out of your way because you can't visit the person because it's 10 minutes too far. But